This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social, and I'm delighted to be joined by Showtime Sonny Edwards. Sonny, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, can't complain. Glad to be back, glad to be on fight week. It's been probably one of my longest camps, to be fair. Come back from injury. Was meant to be out on the 8th of March, Bill Royal Albert Hall. Injury put me out, so 27th April popped up, and it gave me a good time, to be fair. I'm well prepared, I'm in good condition, and I'm ready to put on a good performance.
Talked about your time away with injury. I know how frustrating it's been for you, because I know you've got a good relationship with Rob Tebbett, who you've done a few interviews with. What's it been like trying to cope with that, knowing how ambitious you are and the speed that you want to try and move your career at?
Don't get me wrong, it was nice to have a bit of time off. I had two 10-round hard fights, my two hard fights in my career, Farragut and Granados, in 7 weeks. So that was a busy end to the year for me. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. There was a good silver lining to it, and yeah, I had a nice bit of time out. A normal 23-year-old new dad. Do you know what I mean? So I had a normal first couple of months to 2019. But yeah, I'm buzzing to be back. I've had a good 9-week camp. I've shedded about 12 kilos of weight. So I'm looking to put in a good performance. You know what I mean? I'm feeling as fit as I ever have, to be honest. Been sparring probably the best I ever have. Been sparring some good fighters, weights above, GB fighters, Olympians, Commonwealth, gold medalists, you name it, hard veterans. I've had up and down all sparring. I've had loads. And I've been sparring better than I ever have, really. I've been sparring great. And like I said, I feel fit. I want to get this fight, enjoy it, and I want to get straight back into camp, straight aiming at something else. I don't want to be lying around. Like I said, I should have been on the 8th of March, I wasn't. And now I really would ideally like to have 4 fights in 2019. That might be a push, because we're pushing for big fights. But 3 fights at least I've been promised, so you know what I mean, I'm in a good place.
That's something I was about to ask you. Do you feel a bit, not necessarily pressure, but a pressure on yourself in some sense, to be fair, that you want to try and have 3 or 4 fights and you've got to try and make up for lost time?
Nah, because if we look at the 8th of March to now, what is it, like 6 weeks or something? So I'm not massively out. I've not been out for 8 months, 9 months. I had a couple months off and went straight back into training. The first couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks were hard, you know, because I wasn't conditioned. Normally I come into my camps with a certain amount of condition that weren't there. I didn't walk on it properly for 8 weeks, so. But I'm in no major rush. Had a good meeting with my promoter. I'm not sure if you saw, I signed a new contract. Put me in a better place, promotionally, financially. So like I've been saying, I've turned a corner. You won't hear me chasing for fights no more. I simply don't need to. I'm in a good place financially, and I've got a good path set out for me. So you won't hear me calling for names. Obviously, if someone steps up and wants to fight, then we'll look at it like I've always been. But you won't see me trying to corner no one in, because there straight away you're losing 10-15% of your bargaining power if you're chasing the fight. If ideally I want domestic titles, I want to get the domestic fights. They look very, very unlikely to be happening anytime soon. No one really wants to know. So we deal with it. I'm in a good place with my promotional team, my TV backing, my management team, where I will be busy. I will be busy on BT as well. I'll be in championship fights, like this 10-round defending my WBO European. I'll be ticking away. So it's going to get to the point sooner rather than later where they're going to have to come to me. Do you know what I mean? Each fight I'm going to be hopefully building my profile. Boxing Live on BT Sport is a great platform for boxing. ESPN Plus as well. So the main thing now is getting rounds and getting performances in front of the people to build my name up. We all seen what Charlie done at the back end of the year. Now he's headlining Sky Bills. That's the direction I want to go to. Had a very interesting meeting, you know, with my promoter, and he's looking to get me a world title shot sooner rather than later, which I'm all open for. You know, next 12 months and I'll be ready. I won't be going out to the gym now until I get a big win under my record. So I'll be there. I'll be chipping away, and touch wood, nothing untoward happens to me. No injuries, you know, no bad hands or anything. I'll be fighting, and yeah, like I'm very, very happy with where I'm at now. And those last 2 risky fights have paid big dividends, and I'm blessed to be in the position I am now.
A few things you mentioned there which I can pull together into one question. So obviously you mentioned your new deal with Frank. First and foremost, what is the long-term plan that you guys set out? And when you look at obviously Charlie and what he achieved in such a short amount of time, does it maybe make you want to push yourself a little bit quicker to compete with him, that brotherly competitiveness that I can see you both have?
Don't get me wrong, like I said before, I'll fight anyone, but there has to be risk reward. The variables has to add up, do you know what I mean? So if it's good money, that's a draw. I believe I can mix it with the best in the world, and I believe that for a while now, and I feel like I'm starting to prove it. I've been used as world champion sparring partners. Sparring's different, but I can mix it, do you know what I mean? If a world title gets offered me in my next fight, with proper camp, proper opportunity, then I'm there. If I have to wait 4 fights, 5 fights for the right opportunity to come, 6 fights, then so be it. As long as I'm improving, as long as I'm learning, and as long as I'm getting better and I feel looked after, then I'm going to be very happy. And like I said, me signing my future with Frank, I'm in a very good place. After my last 2 performances, I'm liked very much by Queensview Promotions, BT Sport. Obviously, before the Farragh fight was on Box Nation for a super flyweight headline type with the good views. So yeah, I'm in a very good place. Obviously, the world title is what I want to reach to, and being scared to lose my O will never be a reason for me not to take a fight. Because one, I believe on my day I can mix it and beat the best in the world. But just like I can beat, but I'll always be bouncing back. I'm not looking to pinch a 4, 5, 6 year career and get out. I'm here for the long run. I enjoy the game too much. I don't see me doing anything else. You'll probably still see me boxing when I'm about 38, 40 years old. Do you know what I mean? So I'm here for the long haul.
It's rare for a flyweight.
Yeah, but I think apart from that one shot that Granada's put me down with, you've seen me 20 rounds of TV boxing. You've seen me, if you've been there, all my other fights, how much damage or how many shots have I taken in those fights. And going forward, I don't look to start taking loads for some reason. I don't believe I'm a boring fighter. I feel like I land a lot. I feel like I have enough enough power in my punch to stop my opponent, enough flair in my body of work. I feel like it's good, and I've proved that now to the TV critics. And the one thing I don't think you have seen in the last 2 fights that I boxed on TV is hordes of viewers saying they were bored or switched off or weren't entertained or didn't enjoy it, which sometimes you do see it at the flyweights. People think, it's a boring fight. But like Barry Jones said, he thinks my body of work is good enough that people will tune in to watch. And I feel like now I'm in the position where I'll be popping up on these BT shows quite a lot because I'm in a good place now. And obviously it's quick economics, you know what I mean? A flyweight, super flyweight fight doesn't cost as much to put on as a middleweight or a heavyweight or a cruiserweight fight. So that might work in my favour, do you know what I mean, to be on TV slots on these shows. But as long as I'm doing the business, the team are putting in the work, I'm getting looked after my management and promotional team, I'm in a very, very good place. And my personal life and everything is going well. So I'm 23 and I'm living as best to the dream I can, to be honest. So I haven't got nothing to complain about. I'm here and I'm enjoying it.
You mentioned ESPN a couple of questions ago and the exposure that you'll get on there. Obviously, we saw Tyson Fury and Carl Frampton sign co-promotional deals with Top Rank and Bob Arum. Is that something maybe you've had in discussions with Frank about down the line, not necessarily anytime soon, but further down the line, and once you are world champion yourself, that might be an option for you?
Well, yeah, maybe an option, but let's be real, they're only looking at, the top tier fighters, Carl Frampton, Tyson Fury. I can see, I'm not going to name them, but I can see a few more big fighters going to them. And obviously it's great from Carl Frampton, said he's getting paid now the best than he has in his whole career, do you know what I mean? And he's just come off the back of 2 losses. So, of course it's an option, but I'm very happy where I am right now, and I just want to keep boxing on the UK shores, hopefully build up a name alongside me and my brother, albeit we're on different promotional channels, but we're in very good places, like I said, and there's just not much to complain about.
You've just mentioned, building up your profile. So one thing which I have noticed over social media, a lot of people have taken to yourself and your brother in the sense that you don't, you're not extravagant, you don't big yourselves up, but you know that what your abilities are like and how good you are, and people have just taken to that and shone to that. And obviously the story with your mother and how you want to make her proud, it's kind of just taken the country and the boxing community, taking you guys to heart. What have you made of the reception yourself and your brother's received?
Don't get me wrong, I've always been one to, my whole mum side of things, family side of things, I like keeping that kind of private. Charlie deals with it slightly different ways. You know what I mean? You see him with mum on the back of his thing, and that's his way of dealing with it. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying he's wrong. But I believe we're both winning people over, because if anyone's ever asked me my opinion, I'll give it, whether that's on Twitter or an interview with you here now or in my personal life. I'm quite opinionated, but I don't just go around shipping my opinion off unless I'm passionate about something. But I feel like we've got a lot of people that have turned their heads to watch us, maybe see us get beat, maybe not wanting to see us do well, but then seen us perform and listen to more what we're actually saying rather than just sort of skimming the bits that you can get annoyed about. And maybe that's why they're winning people over. I don't really know. But yeah, I do believe that a lot more people are positive towards us than before. Then again, everyone loves a winner, don't they? So I'm sure if either one of us lost in our next fights, it would all the trolls or whatever you want to call them, they'll come back out in their full force, and rightfully so. If you're opinionated, you put yourself on a pedestal. You can't be out there saying certain things or speaking in a certain confidence, and then all of a sudden, see, Coogan's chopped me off my sentence. And then you can't, and then all of a sudden feel really sorry for yourself when someone disagrees with you. You know what I mean? I'm not like that. Same way I've never blocked anyone on any social media. Like if someone wants to say something, go ahead. I saw something that Andi Fowler put out the other day. Obviously, he got beat by Scott Fitzgerald, and he's getting as much stick of a fighter that I've ever seen be give stick. But I can guarantee you now that when he was at the London show on the weekend, watching the Dave Allen fight, I can bet you I would be surprised if anyone said anything that you'd see on Twitter in his face. And that's why I don't care what people say to me online, because it's not the real world. Do you know what I mean?
What do you make of Twitter trolls? Is the best way to put them. Maybe you guys haven't experienced it as bad as what Anthony has over the Fitzgerald fight. What do you make of it when you see things like that? Do you kind of have a frustration yourself in the sense you wish you could say something?
I don't feel like I feel the frustration because I'm sponsored by Love Hemp UK and CBD or... I'm joking. Yeah, that helps with the anxiety attacks. Nah, joking. No, but in all seriousness, it's easy. Anyone can make a fake account and write anything. Do you know what I mean? And if you get too invested in that, then life's going to be a hard slog from here on out. Do you know what I mean? It's the way the world is. I sometimes say things, to provoke reaction. Certain opinions. I'm not shy of giving my opinion. It's discussions. You know what I mean? Like, just because I have a different opinion with someone doesn't mean I don't like them. Do you know what I mean? We can have a grown-up discussion and talk about it. You show me your side of view, and I'll show you mine. Like, that's what we should be doing, not you're wrong because you feel this or you're a bad person because you feel this, because that's what the Labour Party have been doing. And look, now we've got Brexit. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, let's have a debate, not the other side's racist or wrong. Do you know what I mean?
We've kind of gone away from the boxing matters over these past few questions, so let's get back onto it. Talks about your opponent for Saturday night, Matos. What do you know about him?
He should be quite tough. He's 7 wins, 1 loss. He's coming to win. He's been in Manchester the last couple of weeks sparring, so he's over here in good shape. Looks in lethal shape. I've had a little Insta stalk, you know what I mean? But yeah, he'll come to win, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want a 6-rounder that was offered and advised to me by my trainer, by my management team, by my promoter. I wanted a 10-round title fight on TV, and that's what I got.
I was speaking to Archie Sharp earlier and I asked him, some fighters like to watch their opponents, others don't. What side of the fence do you tend to sit on?
As soon as an opponent gets offered, the first thing you do is watch him. You'd be a fool not to, for me personally. We sit down and watch him, and wherever it is, Pedro Matos took me probably about 30 seconds watching one of his fights to say yes to. I'll look at them straight away and then I'll be like, yeah, no. Actually, I haven't said no to an opponent. Yet. Obviously, there was the whole Mark Lee situation, but that was a joke. You know what I mean? Trying to offer me a bantamweight. That's made bantamweight once, which made no sense to me for my titles, my TV. But that's here nor there. I said if he can prove he can make super flyweight, then we can talk about getting it on. Do you know what I mean? But he's fighting for the English title against my mate Brett Fider, who I've been sparring for this fight. And I like Brett, so I'd like to see Brett do a number on him. Obviously, it's a hard ask for Brett. Do you know what I mean? He's a seasoned journeyman, never has a lot of notice. Yeah, I would like to see Brett do it, but that's because he's a friend of mine. But at the same time, I don't want to see nothing untoward Mark Leach. I always said he's a good fighter. He brings nothing really to the table for me but a hard fight. I've given him his props. He's a good fighter and a good amateur background. So, yeah. But we'll have a look. And then I sort of leave it to Grant, really. I don't sit there and watch too much of my opponents. Because until they're facing me in front of them, I bring out different sides and different fighters. I'll have someone fighting that they've never fought before. Look at Farag trying to stand off me and box me because he knew he couldn't rush me because he was getting caught. When he was fighting Burnett, he was stood in the pocket. Burnett's a lot stronger than I am, but he was still standing in front of him, but he couldn't do that against me because of the angle. Same way against Granados. He looked a completely different fighter to Jamie Collins treated me. He was shadowboxing most of the night against me. So I bring a different fight out of all the different fighters, so I can't look too much into what other fighters do to him. So yeah, I'm a confident kid, and given a fair crack at the whip, a fair purse, a fair opportunity, I'll fight anyone, and that's the way it always has been, that's the way it always will be.
Now, to get your opinion on a couple of other things going on in the boxing world, starting off with the big news last week, Jarrell Miller failing three drug tests. What was your reactions to the first one, which he innocently was protesting his innocence, and then the day later he failed another two?
No, he's a dirty, cheating scumbag, to be honest, and I have no sympathy to him personally. I don't know his family situations, but if he's got kids and that, then that money he was going to earn is life-changing for them, so that's a shame. I can empathise with that, but you know what I mean, he failed on 3 different substances and 3 different tests. The scariest thing is how, say on the first test he failed for something but then didn't fail for that in the second test, and that to me is frightening. You see certain boxers, they come back from America and they say, oh, they're all on it over there, do you know what I mean? And you kind of have to believe it because it seems to be too easy to mask it. I don't know the ins and outs of how to mask it. I'll never look to try and cheat, do you know what I mean? I have a strong sort of prejudice against people that are drugs cheats, and I find it really disgusting, to be honest, and it's one of the things that sort of gets under my skin more than anything in the world of boxing. Because if you cheat on 100 metres, I know this is cliche, but if you cheat on 100 metres, you're faster than the person next to you. If you cheat in a boxing, you can take someone's life. You can take away someone's dad, you can take away someone's son, you know what I mean? It's disgusting. I feel like they should classify these drugs a little bit more, because I put my opinions out there quite open on drugs cheats. I always have, probably why I get asked about it so much. You have the certain ones like that Clen that Canelo had in, Winstrol, which Barry Howard had in him, Jarrell Miller fouled everything. But then you have the thing that was in the Billy Joe Saunders one. Yeah, but you can't compare that to moral grey area, not right for me personally, but you can't compare that to a complete anabolic, do you know what I mean? Because what they should do is they should classify the different drugs, have it very black and white, and if you get caught with one of the proper ones that you have to get injected, like the EPO, that should be a lifetime ban. You've physically taken a needle and shoved it into your arm. Like, if you have something that's found in protein drinks, that should be like a Class B, do you know what I mean? Something that's a moral grey area, like the Billy Joe Saunders one, should be a Class C or something like that. And we need to start making examples of people, because it's never going to stop. Like, I'm 23 now. I could get right off the roids, maybe get a few fights where I don't get caught on it, build up a big profile for me, knocking people out, get banned for 2 years, just stay in the gym, probably be on drugs for like 18 months and then get all the benefits of it and train up to a certain point and then come off it when I'm ready to come back after 2 years. And I know they're not getting drugs tested when they're banned. So do you think when they just stop, or they think, I've got 2 years here, I might as well get an absolute physical condition? Do you know what I mean? It's just disgusting, and I've always said it. Any trainer that stands by someone that's failed a drugs test is in on it. Fact. Because I know what Grant would do to me if I failed a drugs test. And he would kick my ass out of the gym and he would never train me again. Because not only is it embarrassing and tarnishing my name, but it would be tarnishing his and the gym's. And I think that's all I say. So after my boxing, I want to go into the managing, coaching, all of that side of things. Hopefully sort of cover all aspects. But if I ever was looking after a fighter that I've buried my whole heart and soul into, and then they come back, then I would cut my ties with him, whether I liked him, whether I treated him as my son. If my brother even come out and said, failed a drugs test, our relationship wouldn't be the same, because I'm that strongly against it, do you know what I mean?
What are your thoughts on TUEs then? Therapeutic usage exemptions?
I don't know enough. I only found out what TUE was like the other day because I don't look to sort of find these. But TUEs, obviously, doctors have to sign them away, don't they? But doctors aren't exactly the hardest people to get an exemption off when you don't need it. Look how many people sign off saying they hear voices in their head. Do you know what I mean? So they ain't got to go work. But yeah, I would have to look into that more. But I feel like there should be absolute no-go thing. Or we're going to have to turn around and do one or two things. Get really strict on these people, or just be happy with these 2-year bans or 9-month bans or 8, whatever. Or just let everyone fucking get on the juice, and then we'll have at least it'll be a bit more of a level playing field then. And I feel like that's probably the safer option of what we've got now. That so many people are getting away with it for so long a period of their time. That's probably be the safer option if everyone was on it. Do you know what I mean? And it was just available over the counter, and you could have it. And it's bizarre to me. I think we need to start making examples of people. Lifetime bans, never let them compete again. Maybe give them one chance, one ban. And if they ever get caught again, like Jarrell Miller's been caught now twice, boxing, and once get K1 or whatever he was doing. And if you get caught a second time, then the whole book should get chucked here. Look, he's... Go on, you silver fox, yeah. Look. Do you know what I mean? So, like I said, my opinion will never change on drugs cheats. And I can personally know that I will never fail one for any performance-enhancing drugs because it's not in my nature to do so. And if you've got the mentality that you need to get an edge because you're physically and mentally not strong enough, you don't feel like your ability is good enough, then you're destined to fail from the off. Do you know what I mean? So I couldn't do it personally, but like I said, it's disgusting.
Let's go away from the TUEs and AJ. This past weekend we saw Amir Khan face Terence Crawford over in the States. Did you catch a fight? If so, what did you make of it?
He quit. He quit, simple as. He was looking for a way out, and he quit. And no one. I've had arguments on this. No one can tell me otherwise. He didn't quit. And fair enough. He has a right to get out the ring at any point if he doesn't want to be there. This game's too hard not to. But don't come out with every excuse under the sun. Oh, I'd have to watch it back. He might hit my leg. He might not have. Don't get me wrong. I know getting hit in the bollocks. It hurts. It hurts. Do you know what I mean? And I've never been in the ring with. I've been in Ring of World Champions and Good World Champions and that, but I don't think I've ever been in with someone as good as Terence Crawford. So maybe I am not qualified to pass my opinion on it. Maybe because I haven't been hit by someone the like of Terence Crawford. However, own it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can own it. Like, you can't. Oh, I wanted to. He said he contradicted himself in the same sentence in an interview. He said, he was asked, what did the ref ask you? He went, are you okay to continue? Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes then. Then he goes, well, why did you quit? And then he goes, I didn't know I had 5 minutes, to be honest with you. So he's a liar, first and foremost. I don't know whether that's just because he's kind of not the brightest, but he lied. Maybe he was confused, maybe he got hit that hard. But he was getting back to pillar the post. And them trying to say that he was coming back into the fight. Like, what? And he had a bad arm. If you lose, you lose. Hold your hands up. If you don't want to be in the ring, this life is too dangerous. If you don't want to be in the ring, get out of it. You know what I mean? I won't judge you. My boxing hero is Rigondo. He quit against Lomachenko. He did look like he had a bad hand, fine, but he thought everything's going against me. I'm way smaller than him. Fuck this, I'm going home. And fair enough, it's your right to do that. Look at Duran. Quit. No more, I don't want to fight no more. And made it very obvious. He didn't start making excuses. The light was too bright and it was blinding me. Do you know what I mean? No. Own it. Own your shit. And that's it with everything.
People have basically made this comparison now that it's either Terence Crawford or Vasyl Lomachenko who's pound for pound number one. Is it one of those two for you, or is it somebody else?
I think Nayo Anuu's got just as much claim to it, to be honest. Stepping up to bantamweight and icing Piano, beating McDonald, both good world level fighters in a round. Like, wow. That's simple, wow. Obviously Lomachenko and Crawford both have a claim to it. I think Errol Spence has an equal claim to it too. I feel like Sean Porter versus Errol Spence is on the verge of getting made. I've seen it on Twitter. I don't know. But then if Sean Porter beats Errol Spence, what does that make? Does that make him number one? These pound lists are fun, but they're nothing more than that. Do you know what I mean? Because unless you have a 6'5" Nayo Anuu's 230 pounds, we just don't know. Do you know what I mean? Maybe if we get maybe if we legalise these drugs, we'll find out. You know what I mean? Get some human growth hormone in them. I'm sure Big Bay Miller's got some spare, and then we'll have a new heavyweight threat.
And finally, in 2 weeks' time, well, about a week and a half now, Canelo versus Jacobs. Your thoughts on that one?
If it's close, I'll just do what Canelo always does and rob him. And I feel like it is going to be close. Maybe it's a fight too far into Jacobs' career. I feel like that could be the case. I saw a check weigh and you can't really gauge too much from them, but he didn't look great. He looked kind of like drawn in a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how he makes camp. I don't follow his career like that closely to know how compared to what other fights he's been in. But he gave Golovkin as good of a fight as I think he's had. And obviously he's had some great wins. I think Lara was unlucky not to beat Canelo back in what was it, 2014 or 15? Yes. 16 maybe? One of them years. And I feel like Canelo probably should have lost twice to Golovkin. So he's too much of a promotional powerhouse that a close fight would never go against him, and I don't see Jacobs knocking him out because he's tremendously strong. Great fighter, but also a drug cheat. So for me, he went down in my estimation, and he got was it a 6 or 9 month ban for getting caught with that in his system. And like that thing he got caught with is like A1 top grade. What if you was a boxer to do drugs, like it's like that and Winstrol are like two of the best things you can have, because it like helps strip your fat and makes you explosive, and it's just disgusting, like I said. But like tainted meat, you know what I mean? So what excuse?
Well, Sonny Edwards, the Silver Fox as you call him, is waiting for you, Charlie. So I think it's time we end this here. So as always, appreciate your time. A very lengthy interview, so thanks, speak to Boxing Social.
No, cheers for having me on again.